Well, good morning, Oj, as we sit here in Studio 1 and enjoy our Christmas break.
Tomorrow will be the start of it.
Oh, well, we're due for one, don't you think?
It adds to a little more on Sunday fun days when you don't have that Monday to deal with. So yeah, looking forward to today. Big day of NFL football, some big games, and of course we got a nice break. So yeah, it'll be looking forward to it. What's on the agenda here today, Crouchy?
Well, first of all, today I am rocking a shirt. You like my shirt today?
The Canton Seahawks, 2019. Whatever, 11A state champions. Explain it.
Yeah, Canton Seahawks. I got a good buddy, Rich Lundstrom, who coaches out at Canton, and they've won a couple of state titles. He keeps me well dressed with all their apparel. Met him years ago when I was working at the Packer camp. So today we're gonna rock the Canton Seahawks shirt.
Well, you look good, Andy. I mean, this is really for a Sunday coming off a Saturday. You are on top of it today.
Well, should we start with the buzz across the country with Nobody You?
It almost seems like we should have done a just spur of the moment podcast when that stuff was going down.
I know,
because it's kind of fizzled a little bit now. But man, what a week that was, or what a day that was.
Did you watch it?
I listened to it. Still don't know how to deal with the ESPN Plus. I can get it at home, but then I was in school, so
you can get it on your phone.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't have the app on my phone.
You don't have the ESPN
look at how small
app.
this thing is. You gonna watch?
So I guess Oj didn't.
No, I got the regular ESPN app.
Yeah, that's on there.
Oh.
We'll chat off the computer here. Yeah, but for those who maybe were living under a rock for a while, Michigan Tech went down to UWGB and pulled off a 72-70 victory for the Huskies, and the backlash from Doug Gottlieb has been unbelievable.
Yeah, and even if he tried to justify it, or at least I guess he didn't. One of his somebody did, right? Somebody put something out there that it was taken out of context. Blah blah blah. Bottom line is, he said it prior to that game. He's an arrogant ass anyway. We all know it. He comes across that way on that podcast. I can't listen to him. I didn't listen to him even before he was coach. And now he's got this 2-10 team and runs his mouth about the Huskies coming down there, who, by the way, didn't even play very well in the first half.
No, they were down, I think 14 at one point.
And down 8 at half, maybe.
Yeah.
And didn't shoot well. Didn't really play the way they had been accustomed to playing in that first half, and then shot over 50% from the floor in the second half, really moved the ball, and got the win. Yeah, and it was everywhere. I mean, there's t-shirts, right? There we go. Nobody You. I don't know what else to say other than it just, there's people that probably not closet tech fans, but not big tech basketball people that were all over this. It was just such a cool thing.
Yeah, great thing for the university. And again, don't want to rip too much on UWGB other than the coach, because we got a Uper there in Foster playing. I always want to see him do well. But yeah, at some point, Dougie, you got to just kind of be quiet. And you're 2-10. You've never coached before. I think we got a question coming up down the road here too. But yeah, great day for the Huskies. A lot of excitement. I had the shirt on in school on Friday, and a lot of kids were fired up about it. So,
did you see the ESPN highlights?
I did.
Yeah, that was. I was on the treadmill, by the way, at the fitness center, by the way, early in the morning before school, so there's no volume on those things. They just have the TVs up there, and all of a sudden there's the tech highlights. So I didn't get to hear it, but anyway, that's pretty cool.
Sad note. Did you see what happened in MLB yesterday?
I did. That popped up last night, I guess, yesterday evening, whatever it was. You had just mentioned or showed me the new stats that were out there from the book.
Yeah. Right,
and talk about some of the records that'll never be broken in baseball, and that his name, Ricky Henderson's name, was certainly there. I don't know if you can even argue. I suppose you could, but when it comes to leadoff hitters, we're not talking just the decade of the 80s or into the 90s. We're talking about all time. He's probably right there at the top, if not the top.
And by far the most prolific base stealer.
And a hell of a personality.
Is he the one that had the $1 million check framed on his wall?
sounds like he would.
I think he did, and I think he was the guy that did that, and he got it, and he wanted to save it because he had a check for $1 million. Well, the organization got a little nervous when the check never cleared. So
he's got some great lines too. I mean,
yeah.
Some of the quotes that he's had over the years. But this stat, I threw it at you yesterday, but this is amazing. So a player could steal 60 bases a year for 22 straight years, and Ricky Henderson would still have more stolen bases.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he died of pneumonia?
I'm not sure. I didn't see what the cause of death was. I had heard rumors that he had passed, but nothing confirmed, and I haven't seen anything in particular. But
I thought I read that somewhere, and there must have been some other, maybe some issues too that he had. I'm not sure. I didn't know he had any health issues. But what was he? 60 what?
65.
So yeah, Hall of Famer for sure. And like I said, maybe the greatest leadoff hitter of all time.
Another iconic player from our childhood is no longer with us. So rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. A little college football chat now, Oj.
Well,
let's start before we get into that. Ferris State from the GLIAC won the national title yesterday.
With relative ease again.
49-14.
Yeah, their real only struggle in that whole tournament was when they didn't play a very good first half in the semis. And
Right.
Other than that, most of those games were pretty much in hand at halftime, as was yesterday. So yeah, representing the GLIAC, the state of Michigan, Ferris State gets it done, state champ or national champs in Division II.
And then, how much college football did you watch yesterday? I know you were traveling.
We listened to a good chunk of both those early games and watched the Ohio State game. There wasn't a lot of drama. That's the one bummer there. I was looking forward to it, but most of those games were over. Although I will say, Clemson showed a little bit of fight because that was right there teetering to be completely, a blowout as well. And Clemson fought back and they had the ball. Great, they had it on the 1 yard line, third and goal from the 1, 2 chances to get in to make it a 1 touchdown game with about 5 minutes to go, and they weren't able to get in, and Texas iced that one away as well. Ohio State, good for the Buckeyes. Hey, way to bounce back from that Michigan. I'm so proud of them.
Hey, who's had a worse go of it here, Ryan Day or Doug Gottlieb?
Well, Ryan's probably feeling a little bit better. He had the fist pumping yesterday. His rosy red cheeks were shining brightly as he was so proud of his mighty Buckeyes yesterday as they got the job done. Representing the Big Ten, though, I'll give him that. So that was good because Tennessee was pretty much blasted right out of there in the first quarter, 21-0 before I even sat down. And SMU just didn't belong.
Boy, I watched that game from the start. The quarterback for SMU had a rough day, did not handle the elements very well. 3 picks in the first quarter, I believe. 2 of them returned for touchdowns.
2 went the other way, right?
Well, and I guess that brings up what all the talking heads are yapping about today is that they're complaining, the committee, and how we don't have the best teams in there. And I'll say it like we said it before. I mean, with the current system, they had it right. I don't think they had necessarily the best teams, but I think we'll see some changes down the line here. It still provides a lot of excitement. I love the idea of those games being played on campuses too.
Yeah, and I actually thought that the second round games were also home field. I didn't know they were neutral site, because that's kind of a bummer for those teams that got the bye that they don't get to host a game.
Yeah.
Just obviously revenue wise and just atmosphere wise for your campus to be able to host a game. So, of course that Boise State hosting Penn State would have been pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it sure would have.
So, but that's not the case. I don't care about the fact that those games are blowouts. To me, it is a bummer. You didn't get the drama and watch a fourth quarter game. But really, like you said, those teams have earned it. It's not their fault that they play in whatever conference they play in, and their record is what their record is. They got into this thing. I mean, what are you going to say? Did you watch Alabama against Oklahoma? I mean, I don't know how you can just argue the fact that they were the automatic choice there ahead of some of these teams, SMU or whatever, but it'll change. I mean, we're going to get to 16 at some point, and there's still going to be blowout games at that, when it gets to that.
We've seen national championship games be blowouts as well.
Right.
I think the way to fix it, the easy fix, if you stick with 12, is just to seed it 1 through 12. If you're going to give a bye, give them like you do in other tournaments. Give the top 4 teams, not the conference thing. I think that may alleviate some of it, but you're going to always have blowouts. And you know what? How many times have you watched SMU play this year?
Yesterday would have been the first. Well, no, I watched a little bit of the Clemson game too last week, but that's it.
Yeah, and even Indiana, I haven't watched a lot of.
Boy, I thought they were going to fight a little better than they did. They were outmanned.
Yeah.
I mean, their receivers. Matt and I watched that game, and he said it right away. Well, within the first two series, he goes, look at the Indiana receivers can't get open. There's no separation at all. Notre Dame was just locked up on them, so you could just tell right off the bat that it was going to be tough sledding for them offensively. And Notre Dame controlled everything. It was on the betting side, it worked out pretty well because a lot of things covered spread wise, so that was good, at least for me.
And I think Notre Dame is someone that probably could run the table here. I think they're matching up with Georgia, and Georgia is their quarterback situation, but Notre Dame was very, very physical on both sides of the ball, and I think they're going to be a really tough out. And then if they were to beat Georgia, they would get the winner of Penn State or Boise. And I just have a hard time thinking that Penn State or Boise are going to out-physical Notre Dame.
And I, just to add to that little statement, I did take a little flyer on Notre Dame to win the national title.
You did?
I did.
Looking good right now.
So, yeah, I was pretty pleased with their performance, so we'll see what happens down the road for them.
And then I guess the biggest game of the whole thing, I mean, you got Texas and Arizona State. I can't imagine anyone's going to bet on Arizona State.
Texas defense is so damn good. I mean, they did, like you said, Clemson scored some points yesterday and made that a game, but Texas is pretty damn good defensively.
They sure are. And Ohio State and Oregon is probably the key matchup. I think Oregon won by 1 point or 2 points earlier in the year.
Yeah, Ohio State had the ball. That was early, like week 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But the quarterback from Ohio State, I think he either ran the ball or completed a pass, and they couldn't get there to spike it or something screwy like that.
I think he was running the ball and then went down or slid or whatever.
So it came down to that. That was at Oregon. So rematch there. That'll be a fun one. I think all these games coming up will be interesting. Hopefully Arizona State with that little running back can hang with Texas.
Yeah, he's good.
And then it'll be good to see, or curious to see what happens with Genty, with Boise, and how they can move the ball against that Penn State defense too.
So you got 8 teams left as of today, December 22nd. Who are you picking?
Notre Dame.
All right.
I want the money, man.
I think you're going to see a matchup with Texas and Notre Dame, and that could be a dandy there as well. Other bowl games, you going to pay any attention to them?
No.
I'm not either. I mean, Michigan's playing Alabama, and I just can't see how Michigan's going to compete with them with what they're...
Well, who knows how much Alabama's... I mean, I have no clue what players are playing for them or not playing for them or who's transferred, who didn't. I mean, Michigan, obviously, and it's hard to blame those guys,
Those guys are going to be top picks, all 3 of those guys.
Mason Graham is going to be in the top 5, and, it's easy for us or anyone to say, get out there and play your last football game with your college teammates, but, if he gets hurt there, it's going to cost him not thousands of dollars, it's a big deal, and it's hard to blame those guys, so... I'll probably watch Michigan. I'll throw them on, but I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna get a little bit
out
of control here.
No, I'm not, and I'm not gonna have my day worked around it. So we'll pop it on. Is that New Year's Day?
I have no idea. Well, I think the big games are on New Year's Day.
No, so maybe the New Year's Eve, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't paid much attention to it, but NFL happenings in the NFL. I know there's a little topic that you want to discuss.
There is.
The free kick.
Well. We'll get to that. Here's 2 things I want on the negative side. Get your comments on this. Can the Chicago Bears destroy quarterbacks better than anyone? Or do they destroy quarterbacks better than anyone? That organization, so. What a mess. I mean, the coaches, the people, the firings and their offensive coordinator. You go back a couple of years and look at the circus of a coaching carousel in Chicago and how they've just, it doesn't work ever. And I even feel bad for this Williams. I mean, he looks like just a lost soul right now. He's got to realize the cameras are always on him on the sidelines.
Yes.
But in his defense, my God, he's been sacked more than anybody, by far in the league. It's just you look at the coaching situation that he's having to deal with it's beyond belief, and the Bears are just a total mess. So that's number one, and the other one is there any bigger bank robber in the history of football than Kirk Cousins? He's made over $295 million in his career.
You like that?
Well,
you like that? Isn't he the one that did the? You like that?
So going back to his Washington days, he got the money there, and then somehow we got the big paycheck to go to the Vikings.
Yeah.
And whatever, had some years, but had some years where he put up some nice stats, didn't get them anywhere, and now this. He had 1 touchdown pass and 9 picks in his last 5 games or whatever, and now benched with 3 games to go. They bring in Penix, and they're only 1 game out of the playoffs, so it's not like they're completely shot, So they bring in Penix now, and he's benched, and then they're gonna have to release him before a March date, so they can save $10 million. So he's gonna be gone again, but signed this guaranteed contract. He just walked away with another huge payday for doing absolutely nothing. I mean, Kirk Cousins is like if you're on that Kirk Cousins ship on the ocean, you can see paradise, but you're just never gonna get there.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Oh my
right
God!
there.
So he is just laughing all the way to the bank, I guess. We'll see what happens with him next year. But those are my 2 thoughts. And then the Harbaugh decision the other night with the Chargers. I don't even know. I think he actually knew the rule but was questioning it. Because somebody had said, or I heard that maybe this happened before to one of his teams, but I had no clue. And
you didn't know this rule?
I did not know that rule.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know, well, it's never been, no one's ever done that since, like, in 3 decades or something.
No, it's a rule all the way through, all different levels. I've known it, I've actually looked at it. I mean, you think about a situation like even at a high school level, the other team's punting out of their end zone with time expiring in the half or something, and if you had a kicker, we very seldom did. You could, if it's a short punt, you could fair catch it, and then you get
right from that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, right where the ball is, you can kick it from there. So I guess I did know the rule, but the thing I was looking at is I still don't understand why that rule is in effect. I couldn't find it. I did a little bit of digging the other day. Like, why is that even in play? Like, what happened to put that in the rule book?
Yeah, I don't know. And so what's the other option then? Just take the penalty? Because it was an interference on a fair catch.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with it.
That had nothing to do with it.
No, it's just a fair catch. You can execute a free kick off of a fair catch. So you
I didn't even have that right. I
thought you
thought
could always do it, but it never comes into play unless you're in field goal range and time is running down.
How many opportunities you have to fair catch and get it in field goal range?
Right.
That's number one. I thought it had something to do with the penalty also.
I don't believe it does. Just again from my looking at rule books over the years, I believe you have the opportunity for a free kick off of a fair catch.
Well, it was actually a pretty good momentum breaker too, because
they came back and won.
Well, yeah, they were. Who are they playing?
Were they playing the Rams?
No, Denver.
Broncos.
Yeah, so Denver had all the momentum there. Just took like a 2-score lead, and then that occurred, and they kicked that field goal, get 13 at the half, and it was a little, put the momentum back in the Chargers side, and they rolled in the second half.
They did. Yeah, so it was a unique thing. I guess you got to know the rules. You got to know all the finer points of the rules. It's kind of like Little League. But I guess just to backtrack to your things, I think the culture with Chicago is awful. I don't know. Again, I don't know if you put anybody in that situation if they'll be successful. They obviously, we watched this with the Lions over the years, and they obviously have changed the whole culture. And I don't know that the Bears, it's the players necessarily. I think you got to kind of get your own kitchen cleaned up here and get people in place and build a foundation. But yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, even Kevin from the high rent district is off of it. He texted earlier and just reminded us to mention Ferris State winning the national title, and then I think his last quote in his text was "Go Lions, Bears suck." So and this is coming from a pretty big Chicago sports fan.
That's a big day for him to.
Yeah.
Should we get into our picks?
Might as well.
I think I had I think I had a good week last week.
Yeah, you had a good week.
Yes.
I was getting to the point where I'm starting to think I could just cruise right into another victory here, but now things have tightened up considerably. I did go 2-1. to give me a 27-14-1 overall record. You were 3-0 and covered easily in all those games, by the way. 3-0 with Denver, Kansas City, and the Packers. You are 26-15-1, so I have a game lead on you right now, and it's we're coming down to the
3 weeks left. Hey,
so let's get into it today.
I think you're going first, or did you go first? I never know. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have a blast today too. By the way, I'm gonna bet my ass off. I had a good night last night, so anyway.
And you don't have school tomorrow.
Nope. You do not need to remind me of that anymore. But it does. Let's see here. What do we got? You're first or me?
I'll go first.
Of course you will. Go ahead.
My first one is I'm going to take the Vikings at the Seahawks, and I got them at 2.5.
You are getting the Vikings at 2.5. Correct.
I think that's a little bit low, don't you think?
Minnesota minus.
Plus Geno's a game time decision.
2.5. Oh, I love this. I myself am going to take Seattle plus 2.5.
I guess we'll be tied after that one.
And here's my reason. I think the Seahawks are going to bounce back from their pathetic performance against Green Bay last week. Give the Packers credit. And Minnesota's got a short week here. You know, they played Monday night.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for Seattle to come through and cover that at plus 2.5. Beautiful. I can't wait for that game at 4:05. I didn't know about Geno.
Yeah, he got banged up in the Packer game last week. So, yeah, but, maybe it'll be a big game for him. My second one, I am going to take, the Rams are at the Jets, and I think you'd always bet against the Jets.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers' Netflix documentary is out. You want to watch?
Not a chance. I will take the Rams, and I got them at -3.
And that is what they are. -3 for the Rams. That's your second pick. Boy. I'm not real confident with this, but I think they're going to hang in there a little bit today. And they're at home. Philly's been playing damn good, but for some reason I think Washington's going to hang in there and make a game of this and cover +4. So give me Washington at +4 against Philly.
You betting on Washington?
Yeah.
I don't even know you anymore.
I know.
Well, I do have that game as one that if you were taking any of mine as a backup, I think the Eagles are going to roll them. But I'm not taking that one. I'm going to take a game that I know neither one of us are going to actually watch. I got the Raiders at 2.5 against Jacksonville.
4:30 start, if anyone wants to know. Raiders at home, -2.5. You got them. Once again, there's another game. Can you imagine if that's what we had to watch today? Raiders -2.5 for Crouchy, his third pick. Packers are 14-point favorites Monday night. That's a lot.
It is, but they have been playing very well. They will shorten the game Jacobs is playing outside of Saquon. Jacobs might be the best running back in the league right now.
Yeah, he's on a touchdown roll too. For, 5 games in a row, I think.
Yep.
For those of you that want to take an anytime touchdown scorer. I'm going to take the Colts at home -4 against the Titans. The Colts are still, they have an outside shot to get in. They're still playing for something Tennessee is not. Maybe that ex-Wisconsin running back will actually hold on to the football as he crosses the goal line.
Probably be a good thing.
So give me the Colts at -4. I am not real confident in any of my picks, and you are right. I'm a little pissed I took Washington, but what the hell.
No.
So there we go.
This could be a big week because automatically one of us is going to lose. Neither one of us can be 3-0 unless they tie. Right?
That's true.
Unless they tie.
Alrighty, Copper Country Sauna is the premier sauna builder in the Keweenaw, led by 2 brothers-in-law that share a passion for saunas and want to provide custom saunas to the Copper Country residents. When you are ready to throw some water on the rocks, visit our website at coppercountrysauna.com or give us a call at 906-281-9427. Speaking of Copper Country Sauna, I ran into Larry the other day.
You did?
Yeah.
I bet you he's taking us to
Not literally. He's okay. I didn't smoke him with my truck. I just, in the parking lot at Pat's, I chatted with him.
Yeah, he's not like that deer I got the other night.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Right out by you, too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, over by McLean's, I nailed it.
Well, you gotta drive slow in that area.
I was going like 30. You know how many deer I saw on that road?
Okay, Brother Rich. they're all over right now.
They're
a yard up
ridiculous. Yeah, so.
Larry had mentioned a couple podcast comments, but he brought up, he says, who is that Carhu fella from that you guys had on a while back? Oh man, we enjoyed that. We're trying to figure that out. He said, who has a Finnish accent like that, the Yooper accent like that around here? So we were really just trying to figure out who the heck that could be. And I actually, we had a off the air conversation. So Larry does know a little more about the situation now than he did before, and that's all I'm going to say. But he really appreciated old Heikki Karhu being on, so maybe that's something we got to look into again.
Have we heard from Heikki or Parlay Pete?
Yeah, well, actually a lot yesterday. Let me, real quick, see if I can give you the last text or two from him. Not that anyone really cares, but
well, Larry does.
He has Tennessee plus 14.5, under 56. I can't lose. I am a genius. I humbly accept your sentiment. Bolstered by yet another $50 parlay. Oh, Parlay Pete eyed the whiskey in the pantry yesterday. He was so fired up.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if he actually went after it, but he was eyeing it up because he had a good day yesterday. So yeah, he's looks like he teased that pathetic Tennessee Colts game for some odd reason, but that was from Parlay Pete, and we'll see if we can get old Heikki Karhu on again.
Yeah, that would be good. That'd be good. Well, let's get a Northern Arizona Hoops update and a huge day for Coach Burkhardt and the Lumberjacks yesterday.
Big win.
They were I think they were down at half by a couple, and they came back and they beat Southern Utah 83-75.
And they tweaked their starting lineup a little bit, if I read that correct, right, going into it. So we make, sometimes it's sometimes that helps in the team. Maybe it helps that kid, and I'll bring him off the bench, whatever it does. But it changed things up, and that was a huge win for those guys.
Well, a couple of fun facts from this game. We'll start with Mr. NAU McLaughlin. He had another big day, 26, went over the 1,000-point thing. Jaden Jackson had 23, and then Carson Tout had 21 to go on top of his 17 rebounds.
Yeah, that guy's just cleaning up the glass.
Yeah, I think he's either leading the nation or right in the top couple.
Yeah, and McLaughlin he's up there too, scoring wise in the country for D1, correct?
Yeah, so and Southern Utah is pretty good. Do you know who coaches Southern Utah?
No.
Jeter.
Rob Jeter?
From?
Well, he was Platteville.
Yeah, that's Rob Jeter.
Robbie Jeter's over there. I think we talked about this last year.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
And another fun fact, you know who led Southern Utah in scoring?
Was that the Parkside's? Is that Luke's ex-player?
Jameer Simpson had 20.
That was that. Okay, that's where he's at, really.
Yeah, former UW Parkside. I'm sure Coach Regal was excited to hear that he's lighting up Division I after we watched him play at Michigan Tech a couple weeks ago. But nonetheless, it's a big win. They got a little break heading into Christmas here. They have one more non-conference game on the 30th against Benedictine Mesa, I believe is at home. But I didn't sit down. I stole Mitch's post-game interview, and Coach Burkhardt was pretty fired up. So let's hear what Coach Burkhardt has to say. Well, Oj, it's time to hit the mailbag, and much like Santa's toy bag, it is full today. We got a lot of stuff to get through. So this is probably going to be a little longer segment than normal, but yeah.
You almost filled up 2 pages here in the lesson plan.
And we got one that came in late, but you want to start with Ed from Waukesha. He didn't really send a question.
Well, I see he was in attack mode.
Yeah, but I didn't even put it on there because it wasn't a question. But he had a rebuttal for our conversation last week.
Well, I got to pull it up. Why don't you start with the first one while I look for this? Was that a text to both of us?
No, it was an email. Remember, he was
Yeah, I remember. But you don't have it on this?
I didn't have enough paper.
All right, here it is. I got it. All right, so yeah, he is certainly in attack mode again, and on his list is none other than Coach Regal's son, who he goes after, and my wife, Jenny Buchak. So he lambastes both of these two. First of all, tell Coach Regal's kid that Ronnie James Dio was not replaced by Ozzy. It was actually the other way around after Ozzy got into the drugs. Those two swapped out for a few decades. Ozzy started with Sabbath in '68, left in '79, blah, 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 blah. So Correcting facts there from Coach Regal's kid. That's number one.
Do you think anybody cares?
No. And then, now, and actually, he's got a little point here, but he goes after Jenny Buchak. Where does she get off showing up now in the mailbag? And yeah, it took her 83 episodes, and now we got back to back. Her pick of AC/DC singer replacement of Brian Johnson after Bon Scott's death in 1980 is a trendy pick. While I agree that Johnson did fine, it is not an upgrade, in my opinion, from Scott. So yeah, apparently he's not real pleased with the fact that Jenny is just all of a sudden throwing questions in there 83 episodes in.
In her defense, she has sat around and listened to us do this for many of them.
Yeah, and I did read this to her once it came in, and her reply was, why don't you tell Ed from Waukesha to go beep, 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 and stick it up his beep, 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 beep.
So Jenny Buchak's making a run at Listener of the Year for SS3TP.
There you go.
That's the end of that?
I think.
That's enough.
Iron Maiden. Yeah. Here are some other better picks. Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, Pink Floyd, David Gilmour for Sid Barrett. No, that's not bad. Deep Purple, Ian, whatever. Anyway, thanks, Ed. Have a Merry Christmas.
We got Scott from Bonita Springs.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. I bet she's a fun guy, though. Has a wonderful wife, too, by the way. Question from the Sunshine State. Interested on comments on Dan Campbell's onside kick versus Buffalo. In my opinion, to steal a quote from my buddy Tom Wender, there's a fine line between tough and stupid. Any thoughts on this topic? First, that's a great quote. I use that one from Coach Wender all the time. There's a difference between tough and stupid, so love it. Dan Campbell and his going for things, I said, we talked about like the Packer game where he went for it, and then the onside kick. At this point, it is what it is with him, right? He's going to do it. He doesn't give a flying rip what people think. He's going to try and win the game the way he wants to do it. I still think, much like the NFC Championship game, it's going to bite him at some point.
Well, that's the worry. That's the worry for Lion fans, is that the decisions that he makes in these big games, critical playoff games coming up. Well, we talked about it enough last year, right? The NFC Championship game last year. It was a podcast the day after. We were all over him. But he does not change, and like you said, he doesn't care. That's what he is, who he is. The Lion players seem to buy into it, so it's what it is, right? That's part of being a Detroit Lion fan, and Dan Gamble is going to keep on doing that stuff. So I don't know. Just hope for the Lions' sake that he doesn't cost them that. But to me, that was just flat out stupid. That onside kick.
Well, it did come back to bite him. The guy dang near ran it back for a touchdown, gave it up. But again, it is who they are. We talked like how bad the culture is with the Bears. He has changed the culture with the Lions, and this is part of what they do. So you're gonna have to live with it. And they said hopefully it doesn't come back and bite him at that time like it did last year.
I'm actually interested to see how they play today with the Bears. They're +7 on the road. Detroit has not played well lately.
And Montgomery's out.
Montgomery's done. There's a rumor. Well, I see now he's not getting surgery, so he's going to try to rehab and come back for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with him. But Detroit is just so banged up. I mean, but the mess of the Bears. That's an interesting game.
It's a good time for the Lions to play the Bears.
That's true.
Have a good team on the schedule to play when you're in this situation, but.
All right, next one. Scrapyard from Centennial Heights. Would you like me to read this?
Yeah, you might as well, because this is going to be...
All right, this will be interesting here. So again, it goes back to last week's questions. I realize that I may be flirting with a suspension, but I have a burning question to ask Crouchy. Last week, a listener asked about plays in a game that, if done differently by Crouch or Oj, could have changed the final outcome. On Black Saturday, late in the playoff game against Crystal Falls, those of you that are locals and know Crouchy, you know what Black Saturday is. Lake Linden was winning by less than a touchdown. On a crucial 4th down and in punt formation, Lake Linden tried a hard count to draw Crystal off sides, and then the punt was blocked. Because of the hard count, the ball was not snapped right away, and a timeout could have been called to reset the punt team. I am wondering if Lake Linden had any timeouts left that a member of the coaching staff could have used. That is from Scrapyard, Centennial Heights. So, I will let you go.
Well, first of all, it disappoints me that Scrapyard takes this path, because it's been beaten to death, and I don't talk about it. I own what happened, and part of the reason why I don't ever talk about it is because I want the ownership of it. But since he asked, and it's been a while, I will fill Mr. Scrapyard in on what really happened. Because most people don't really know, they just assume I made a bad decision, which again, I own everything that happens. I'm in charge. So the situation at the end of the game, playoff game, we did not play well. There was a lot of factors involved in this. Some questionable things done by our opponents, other things, but again, everything falls on me as we lined up to punt. We were in a situation where we had a couple of injuries, and at our level, you don't just put a backup in. It's a fire drill, people moving along. So in our preparation over that week, we had, if this guy goes down, he goes here and he goes here. Because right, it's not just take Jimmy off the sideline. So one of our backup kids was, taught during the week that if you're in this situation, you line up next to Mikey.
Okay.
That's your job, protect your gap, and then that's it. So at this point in the game, Mikey had to shift positions due to an injury, so now Mikey was lining up in a different position, and said backup was in the game because of the other injury, and guess where he lined up?
In the wrong spot.
Yep. And we tried to draw them off sides, because if they jump off sides, we kneel on the ball and we win. And we did a quick little motion, and punt got blocked. The reality of it is, I would do that again in a heartbeat. Something to draw the other team off sides, take a run at it. Zero problem with that. Where the operation broke down was we were a guy short on one side because of the alignment, because of shuffling people around. And as a result, again, that's on me. That's on me, did not see it. It's hard to see from our press box, obviously, and with the crown. But we did not have enough people over there, but when the play was called in.
So from your standpoint, it looked like you were lined up correctly at the time?
Yep, we moved.
Did you have a timeout?
I don't know if we did or not. I think we ran the clock down to the very end, took the timeout to burn as much time, and then, when play was called and discussed, everything was signed. Even with the guy moving in motion, we were solid as far as protection goes because we had an extra guy that we normally didn't. We brought those guys in. So we did not see the misalignment at the time, obviously, and it got blocked. But then again, it's been a tough loss. I dealt with it for the last 5,524 days. It's 100% on me. And again, part of the reason why I never discuss it is because the perception of what happened falls on me, and that's where it should. So I'm glad Scrapyard brought this up.
Hey, you got to have some people that are willing to ask tough questions.
Yeah, but there it is. Again, my mistake. Bad things happen.
You want to suspend them?
No, like I said, I'm just.
This would be a good week to suspend somebody. It's like the pitchers. You suspend a starting pitcher for 5 games, right, or 5 days. They only start once.
Yeah.
We're off next week, so if you want to suspend.
No, I just wanted to know that I'm utterly disappointed in him and to take a stab at me like that. But there it is. That's the story behind it. Again, I have owned every single thing with this. It is 100% my fault. It is nobody else's. And like I said, there's a lot of factors that went into that game. Mainly, we did not perform well.
Well, I think you just explained it. He asked the question, you explained it.
Yeah. So.
I dare somebody to ask that again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, so again, I've owned this for 5,524 days, and anybody who doesn't think that number is accurate, huh.
All right, we'll move on from there.
All right, Matt from Mohawk. Predictions on Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul. Also, which NFL coach besides Harbaugh would you most want to sound with? I have no idea who these people are. Is this a tennis match?
I want Conor McGregor beaten. That guy's
Is this fighting?
He's a sick bastard.
Yeah, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, I think his biggest wins lately fighting are beating on his girlfriend or somebody. He's just an ass. I don't even know who is Logan Paul. Is that the one that fought Tyson?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about that question.
You don't know Conor McGregor?
Is he the guy that has the whiskey?
Yeah.
The Irish whiskey?
Yeah. I'm pulling for Logan Paul. Not quite sure who he is, but McGregor's a turd. Anyway, the next question is good. The next part of that. Which NFL coaches, besides the Harbaughs, which would have been,
Yeah.
been the meat and their best friend sandwich at the top bench. So
Kind of a creepy way to put it, Oj, but we'll roll with it.
who would you? Oh, let's see. Do you have anyone that comes to mind right away?
Nobody that just jumps out at me. I think I could take a sauna with LaFleur. He's a pretty good dude. One of my buddies has hung out with him before. He spent some time at Northern Saginaw guy. I think I could get on board with that. Andy Reid comes to mind because I bet you he could pound a couple beers in the sauna.
Yeah, he'd probably be entertaining in there.
But yeah, I'm definitely not the guy from Miami.
Oh my God. Yeah, no chance.
And you can't go with Dan Campbell because he'd be sitting there just throwing that water on there trying to melt you.
Yeah, but the other part of that is, wouldn't it be nice to chase Dan Campbell out of there?
You are not doing that.
Big tough guy up on top, and little old me sitting next to him, firing the water on the rocks. All of a sudden, Danny Boy goes hightailing for the changing room. He'd be one, and then Mike Tomlin would be another one. Like, tough guy, always has that persona.
Yeah.
I would love to chase his ass out of the sauna too. That'd be awesome. But I think Andy.
Why are we chasing him out? I thought we wanted to sauna with them.
Wow, just the toughness of those guys. It'd be cool to have them out of there. But I agree. Andy Reid, I think, would be just a blast. I think we'd have fun throwing a few back with him in there. So, as far as the other two guys, I just think it'd be cool to be tougher than them in the sauna. So
not the Miami guy.
You know where he'd be?
Last.
He'd be on the bottom bench with his feet in a bucket or something. He wouldn't even. He'd wear his glasses in there, and then he'd realize that no chance with him. And then the third part, Matt's got that other question that popped up, and I'm actually curious with you on this. He asked about if we could grow a beard, would you? If you look right now, I haven't shaved in a few days. I look like the Buffalo coach now again.
You do. Matt, I cannot grow a beard. I would love to. I've made feeble attempts over the years. I get the creepy little mustache coming in, and my beard grows.
No, you're thick up there, above the lip.
Yeah,
you can grow a nice mustache.
Yeah, but it comes in, I look like a creep. Like I should be driving around in a windowless van.
Can you goatee it?
I can't. I don't get anything that grows here, and I get patches. I cannot grow a good beard. My son can grow a heck of a beard, but I cannot.
That's odd.
I know it is, but the problem is...
You can't connect the mustache down to the bottom of the chin at all.
It doesn't. It just stays like that, and the longer I go without shaving, the creepier I look.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of been a sore subject for me.
But
Thanks for bringing that up, Matt.
My issue with it is it used to be salt and pepper, and now it's just salt.
Now you look like Papa Smurf.
Yeah, so I can grow one, and I kind of do once in a while, and I might not shave over break for a while. So, very interesting with Crouchy. Maybe we should give it a shot. Prove it to everybody. Let's get a picture for the pod.
Well, if you remember during COVID...
Let's put it on the poll. Should Crouchy grow a beard?
On the poll. Remember when we were shut down for COVID, I was shaving my head, and then I wasn't growing anything out. And then we had to do like videos with the kids, and I looked like a total creep.
Speaking of COVID days, looking like creeps, remember Jesse from Appleton?
I just sent that picture to somebody too, by the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was... Yeah, he and I could be riding around in my windowless van.
Jesus.
Oh. All right. Here we go. This is Billy the Body. You like that name?
Yeah, bootstrap.
Merry Christmas to everyone except Doug Gottlieb. Can you think of anyone that had a worse week than head coach Doug Gottlieb? On Monday, he tried to fact check Adam Schefter on Twitter, where Schefter responded, "Geez, Doug, a 7-game losing streak and last place in the Horizon League. Less time on social media and more time in the gym." Then 2 days later, in a press conference about his upcoming games, he addressed Michigan Tech as "nobody you" and questions what they get out of beating someone like that by 20. He then followed up by being a no-show on his regular scheduled Fox radio show the same afternoon. As my brother-in-law stated, who has had multiple encounters with him, what an ass clown. I think we kind of talked about this at the beginning, but...
Well, he did a nice job of summarizing his entire week, because we didn't mention the Schefter deal, which is funny as hell, too. I'm actually curious to know what type of encounters the brother-in-law has actually had,
Well, doesn't he? I think he He's a writer, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Well, he was on the beat writer for Michigan.
Yeah.
At basketball, I believe. So, yeah, I'd love to hear some of those stories, but you hit the nail on the head. That was a rotten week for that boy. How did they do yesterday? They played Drake.
I didn't even look.
I think Coach Regal had mentioned the fact that they were probably going to get really spanked by them. I'm not sure. I'm guessing they lost, but...
Yeah, I'll check it out when we're done here, but...
Good to hear from Bootstrap Bill again.
All right.
Oh, boy, Leroy Puskinen.
We called him out last week.
Yeah, the
He
big
responded.
puss. All right, he says, guys, I hope you are enjoying Christmas break. Well, we're not even there yet, but I will be today and tomorrow. Crouchy, now that you're at Tech, how has it been coaching for your alma mater's rival? Also, what are some of the main similarities and differences and pluses and minuses, Jesus, between coaching at the high school and college levels? And for both of you, what was the best musical performance you have ever witnessed live and why? Keep up the good work, boys. Leroy Puskinen of Calumet.
Yeah, good to have the Pusk back.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll start by saying it's my experience with Michigan Tech has been nothing short of amazing. I love the coaches up there. I love the environment. Love the culture. They treat me really, really well. I've loved every second of it. I've learned a lot about football. As far as similarities go, I think, and we've kind of talked about this earlier, is that culture. Like if you have a culture at a high school level, you can overcome a bad season, adversity. Your culture kind of travels, so to speak. And then the same thing at the college level. The culture at Michigan Tech, I think, is amazing. They do a phenomenal job across the board there. So I think that is one thing that, X's and O's aside, I think the culture and the environment that you have at your high school or at your college, I think, is probably a pretty important factor. As far as differences go, just the fact of the number of people that you have assisting with you. You're not hauling dummies out and setting things up. I mean, you got people that help you with that stuff. Again, the numbers, putting a backup in instead of shuffling people around is a big thing. But it's been great. I love my time coaching at Lake Linden. I love my time coaching at Michigan Tech. And again, I see similarities in the way things are run as far as the culture goes.
All right, and the next part of that is for both of you about our best musical performance that we've ever seen live and why. My favorite all-time singer is Dwight, and I've seen him a number of times, so it's hard to label one of those concerts as the greatest ever. I'd see him again in a heartbeat. But without a doubt, the best concert I've ever been to as far as just atmosphere and fun and iconic group was when we saw the Eagles last year in Indianapolis. It was, I expected a lot. My expectations were high, and it was outstanding. Sarah just saw him, a while back here in Vegas.
In the Sphere.
Yeah, in the Sphere. I'm sure that was something else.
He said it was awesome.
Yep. So you just, I wish Glenn Fry was there, but like I said, the fact that his kid and Vince Gill filling in, just outstanding. It was a phenomenal concert. So Eagles for sure for me.
Mine was last weekend. I saw the Wingnuts at Eva's. I got to be honest with you. The older I get, the more I hate concerts. The last concert we went to one at Lambeau Field, and it was like Kenny Chesney and a bunch of guys, a bunch of people. The performers were awesome, but what an absolute crap show. We were there. I mean, just people falling down on top of us in the stands, and it was just... I'm not a huge music fan to begin with. I've been to a number of concerts. I've enjoyed them, but the older I get, the less I want anything to do with sitting in those shows.
It's all about the access to a bathroom for you.
It is. It really is. And, obviously being in the Eva's venue, the bathroom wasn't readily accessible. And, so I'm going to go with the Wingnuts.
Way to throw a plug for the Wingnuts locals. All right. You can take this one.
More random questions from Cask and Flag and Dwayne. I miss the days of stick-em use in the NFL. Too many drop passes this season. Who was the most prolific NFL player to use stick-em? Okay. Also, can we bring back tearaway jerseys? Why do some schools in the South feel the need to increment their yard lines and denominations of 5? That's a great question. Why do they play between the hedges? With the new kickoff rule, I believe, when the ball blows off the tee, the kicking team is allowed to have a 12th player on the field, but this player must sprint off the field immediately after the kickoff is made. At least that's what I saw attending 6-time Super Bowl champion Patriots game at Gillette this season. What a great birthday gift from my sons. Merry Christmas to you and your tens of fans, especially Ed from Waukesha. Wow. The ball on the tee thing, we were messing with him last week. Yeah, so you basically get another guy to hold it, and then you got to get off the field, can't participate. But any of these you want to even address?
Well, the stickum part, I remember an iconic picture in Sports Illustrated, and I believe it was Lester Hayes of the Raiders in a Super Bowl or maybe the AFC Championship game. So we're back into the earlier 80s. And he had, it was just all over his hand. He was a corner, I believe, not a safety. They had Alvin Hayes too, I think, in that defensive secondary. Lester Hayes, is he a Hall of Famer?
Good question.
He was a hell of a player, but I just remember that iconic shot of him just stick him all over. And I'm trying to think of a receiver too that I might have. It might have been the posse, those jackasses with Washington Titan, Art Monk and those guys, one of them.
It sounds familiar.
It could have been one of them too. So I just remember the stick 'em on Alvin Hayes or Lester Hayes, so that's what I'm going to go with there.
Yeah, but you don't even need to stick 'em anymore. The gloves these people wear are...
That's true.
It's legal to stick 'em on those gloves for sure.
I have no idea. You chuckled at that and mentioned it's a great question. So explain to me the South, the schools in the South, they have increments of 5?
Yeah, like if you look at LSU's field, they have the 5-yard line, the 10-yard line, the 15. Most schools just have the 10, the 20.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, they have it on there, so everywhere along the way. I've often wondered that myself.
Is it just certain, all?
I don't know that all of them
is it an SEC rule?
I don't know if it's a rule even. I just think some of them do it. It's actually rather annoying to me.
I didn't even notice it.
Dialed in again.
Yeah, well, whatever. What else we got? Anything else we're missing there from him?
Fairway jerseys, do we care?
That is a pretty cool gift, though. You got to give it some credit. Whether Daddy deserved it or not, he got to go to the game, so that's awesome.
That is a good one. So good to hear from you, Cask and Flagon. We got one more. You want to take this one from our buddy in Appleton?
Okay. This is more of a statement than a question, but would be a good discussion for you guys. If you are going to enter the transfer portal, just go. It's your right. Go get your money. But can we please stop with the lengthy love letters professing I'll always be a blah, 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 and how much you love your coaches and your teammates? No, you won't be. You don't. Number 2, Oj, in your opinion, what artist/musician has or had the most perfect sound in country music history? So, he's right about all these letters and the love letters going back to these universities and the coaches and the families and the fans and blah blah blah. So he's 100% on it.
I agree 100%. You made your decision to leave, which in the current state is what you can do. Just move on. You don't even need to refer to it. Everyone's now putting their tweet out that they're in the portal and all that stuff. So I agree with Jesse 100%. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and the second part of that is a good question. He mentions has the most perfect sound. So there's the key word in that whole question, sound. He's not saying voice. All right, so to me, if you are thinking about just classic, raw, shit-kicking country, perfect sound, it goes all the way back to 2 guys, and that would be Lefty Frizzell and Webb Pierce. So if you want to listen to classics that'll probably drive people nuts, those 2 guys right there. Go listen to about a 5-song shuffle of Webb Pierce followed up by a 5-song shuffle of Lefty Frizzell, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But when you want to talk about just pure sound with voice, George Jones is probably one as far as just soulful voice, but one that a lot of people don't talk about is a guy by the name of Vern Gosdin. Have you heard of him?
No.
Vern Gosdin died. He was actually known as The Voice. That was his nickname. He died a number of years back, but he has an iconic country voice. So, great question, Jesse.
So you're not going to go with Stevie Nicks?
Country music.
Oh, that's not country? Yeah, boy, just like and now just like Santa's bag at your house on Christmas morning, it is empty. Located 8 miles south of Lake Linden on the Blue Jack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant is your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether you're in the mood for their Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or a Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop. And we have the last listen to the lyrics of 2024.
Lo and behold, we just, breaking news, Adam Schefter, breaking news, I'm on my phone. Hanky Carhu has made contact.
No kidding.
Those of you that were waiting to actually make a bet on one of Yankees tips, he is now saying Vikings -2.5, Colts -2.5, Arizona -5. Thank you, Hanky Carhu.
Didn't he just reinforce what we picked?
Actually, he did.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, listen to the lyrics.
It is time for the last listen to the lyrics of 2024.
All right. So I just watched that Laurel Canyon documentary for the second time. I get into these things.
I know. I
can't stop.
texted and I was giving you some
it's-
info. You said you're watching a music documentary again.
I love that time, the mid '60s music, both country and rock and roll. Just love it, and the talent that gathered in that community was, just outside of LA. And I mentioned before, I just absolutely love it. So, the Byrds were the first to start making a name for themselves from that West Coast rock scene, and then a few years later, Glenn Frey met Don Henley, and the Eagles took off. But in between them, Richie Furay, Stephen Stills, Neil Young, and a couple other Canadian musicians got together to form a band that only stayed together for 2 years. But they had a huge influence on folk, rock, and country music. Their most recognized hit was written by Stills, and a lot of people believe that it was a Vietnam protest song. However, it was actually written about a bunch of young people that were clashing with police after an LA nightclub closed down. They were out there protesting the closing of this club, and it turned kind of crazy. So anyway, Stills was one of the people that were down there at the time. He went back to the canyon and wrote this classic for what it's worth. So enjoy the group, iconic group, Buffalo Springfield, singing an all-timer.
Geez, Oj, you had 3 pages in that blue notebook today. That one must have came in.
Oh, the stuff I brought?
No, your blue notebook you just read. Your notes.
Oh, I did. It went to the third page.
Third page for sure.
Oh.
It's a big one. Last one of the year.
Listen to the Lyrics was brought to you by Kiwan Auto Body, located on Pine Street in Calumet. They're your choice for quality collision and body repair since 1966. They are open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and 8 to 12 on Saturday. Give them a call at 906-337-1203.
And I will be bringing my vehicle to Cuban Auto Body on Monday to start the process of getting that fixed.
Yeah, that's we'll see how many people actually caught that, but you smoked it pretty good.
Yeah.
Did it go right down, or did you
Well,
turn around, or what was the deal?
No, I
with that?
I pulled over and I had to wait for the police to get there, and that poor deer was flopping on the road for
Ah,
20 minutes,
jeez.
and then out of the blue hopped up and ran in the woods.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well, that's a positive end of the story.
well, it would have been even more positive if he would have stayed in the bloody snowbank and didn't hit my car.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah. We'll be off next week. We'll be off through the New Year's, but want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. All 10s of our fans a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
What you up to today for the games?
I'm probably just gonna hang out a little bit. Probably just kind of relax, watch it. Maybe go for a little snowshoe in the back 40.
I have 2 big Ziploc bags of marinated venison going right now from that mighty stag that I knocked down. And
I'm pretty sure the
November.
deer I hit was bigger than what you shot.
but anyway, we're gonna have somewhat of a crew down, I guess, today. So I got some venison going. I'm throwing in the pan later on. See if the Cowboys can hang in there against Tampa, and see if we can win a few bucks today. So I'm gonna enjoy the football Sunday.
All right, Merry Christmas. See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Crouchy.